welcome to Spanglish World and Her Network on Zingo TV, channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app on your respective app store on your Android and iOS devices. And when you download, make sure that you leave a review and a comment. The app is free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks on all smart TVs from 2016 forward. Aha. So I have a special guest here today. Let me just read his bio. Ooh, we've been interrupted.
Special guest.
Oh, I need to see you. Oh, there you are.
How are you?
I'm good. That's
and our special guest.
Special guest. Now I can read both bios. I love it. She like slid it in.
That's how you do it.
So this is Dr. Morissa Schwartz. She is the owner of drrissyswriting.com, a marketing and writing company that is ranked the top #1 social media experts by in New York by Thumbtack and Gen Z Publishing, a publishing company which has produced 6 Amazon bestsellers. She holds a doctorate in literature from Drew University and has a master's in communication. She has been featured on Forbes, MTV, has broken a Guinness World Record for creating the world's longest chain of bracelets. Oh, you got to tell me about that. Is a best-selling author, speaks professionally about inspiring others through words and entrepreneurship. And she was named the voice of Generation Z by Community Magazine. She seeks to inspire others through words and a positive attitude. So that is guest number 1. And
we don't need a bio for me. I'm like, you can't beat that.
But how do I pronounce your last name?
I'm Chef Sharon Shvarzman.
Okay, he said it, so I'm not gonna butcher
Schwartzman.
it. He's a contestant on Food Network's Worst Cooks in America, but he's improved massively. Who has then become a proud winner of the Great Food Truck Race, executive chef. Oh, okay, I'm not going to butcher your last name. He is now opening his own restaurant. How do you pronounce that?
Keshet Kitchen. Keshet means rainbow in Hebrew.
Okay, Keshet Kitchen. You can see that I suck at my Hebrew. And that's opening this month. Is it opening this month for sure?
We're opening the 26th.
Oh,
Friday the 26th. Yay, finally.
So I'm going to call you Chef Sharon. Can I do that?
Oh, I love that. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
It does
It
now.
sounds good. The sh with the sh.
Yeah, it's Chef Sharon.
The phonetics. So the Chef Sharon.
Chef Sharon. He thanks God that he learned from the best, his parents. He didn't always have a knack for cooking, but his parents granted him the time, the space, and the materials to learn in their own restaurant's kitchen in New York.
Yeah.
And he has remained enthusiastic through all of his struggles and committed to making his parents proud of what he can whip up in the kitchen. Fast forward to now, and he's found his knack in Israeli comfort food, and as well with the help of his boyfriend, Abe. And now he's opening up his very own restaurant in Philadelphia.
And the help of Marissa Schwartz, business partner.
No, you're in Pittsburgh.
Brander, guru. Yeah.
Where are you? Are you in Pittsburgh? Philadelphia.
I'm in Philly.
Okay,
Marissa's in Jersey, like 40 minutes away, right across the ocean.
Right. So you guys are opening up this restaurant, but I kind of want to go back because this show is all about like mindset and overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people see somebody like launch a restaurant or publish their first book, or it goes to like last week I had a best-selling author on the show. And so people see the end, but they don't see the beginning.
Right.
And I think it's very important to appreciate that everybody has obstacles.
Yeah, there's definitely a struggle to any goal. When you set your goal, there's always going to be bumps in the road. The only thing that makes life easier, any goal easier, is money. And unless you have lots of money, you're going to have struggles, and there's going to be favors and loans and things you're going to have to ask from people, and you're going to need lots of help to get to where you want to be. 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago almost, I was not a chef. I literally was the worst cook in America, or one of the worst cooks in America. And I started my culinary journey because my grandfather passed away from pancreatic cancer. They were in the restaurant business. After he passed away, that all stopped. My family literally just like anti-food. And I decided to learn how to make his food and bring my family together over his dishes. And I succeeded after winning the Great Food Truck Race. That continued my culinary like hunger. Like I just had to know everything about Middle Eastern food and why my grandfather did this and why he added this spices. And I went to culinary school and I educated myself. And now I'm a chef and I partner with Morissa and my boyfriend. And we're opening up our first restaurant in Philadelphia, Keshet Kitchen. And it'll be in Queen Village and March 26th. And yeah, if you're in the neighborhood or if you're not, get in your car, come out.
I got to drive across the border, but the details.
Well, we ship, girl. We ship. You let us know where you live. We will ship it to you.
So, Mo, when we were speaking the other day, you talked about like you started your first. It is International Women's Day, and you started your first business when you were 16.
Hey, I'm a woman sometimes. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
It's okay. It is okay because all are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. But Morissa, so you had Lyme disease when you were younger.
Yeah.
And can you share some of what your journey was like? And
yeah, I mean, I'm a driven person because of that Lyme disease. Well, I mean, my parents also pushed me and encouraged me, I should say, from a young age. But I had Lyme disease at age 11, which encouraged me to create a goal list of everything that I wanted to do. And on that goal list was things like breaking a world record, like you mentioned before, or singing on national television. And all of those little things, like I broke the world record to promote my first book. Like I've done all these different goals because they were on my goal list, but they actually propelled me to the point where I'm at now. So with that really awful experience, which I wouldn't wish Lyme disease on anybody, I'm going to have like arthritis for the rest of my life. And, you know, you deal with it. There are a lot of different remedies and things that help with it. But, you know, I'm going to have that, and that's a terrible thing. But without that, I wouldn't be involved in Keshet Kitchen because I probably would have never gotten involved in marketing and PR, which is what led me here. So everything happens for a reason is a cliche for a reason. It's true. I mean, it's amazing how all the events unfolded from being a sick kid to a teenager who just had all these goals because I was a sick kid, to actually accomplishing the goals as a young adult, and to now where I'm, you know, seeing what happened from just how the domino effect happened and allowed all this. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, it takes a certain amount of like mindset and perseverance. Like, you know, whenever we're faced with obstacles, it's so tempting to just kind of curl up into a ball and in the fetal position and just feel bad for yourself. So
it's always easier that way.
It's definitely easier. But like, what do you think? Because you got to get that. Your parents were obviously motivating you, but what is it? And let's face it, a lot of people's parents try and motivate them. Doesn't mean that it necessarily works. So what do you think is it inside you that sparked and was like, okay, I'm gonna, like, that's a lot. There's so many adults, like, I think something like 93% of adults don't write down their own goals. So what made you as a teenager get out a pen and paper and start writing down your goals and really planning what you wanted to create?
Yeah, I think it's my personality. I'm type A, but also like certain things happen for really silly reasons. Like I started freelancing in high school. That was how I got into writing and marketing. I started freelancing in high school because I didn't want to get a job at the mall because all my friends who had jobs at the mall were miserable. So sometimes I was motivated by really silly reasons. So yeah. I think it really
we're
is.
We're not mall girls.
It's
you like to shop at the mall, not work at the mall.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love shopping at the mall. But no, working there, I've always Build-A-Bear would have been fun to work at, but like, you know, I heard the horror stories of my friends working at the food court and stuff. Just I'm like, no, please, I don't want to do that. But so sometimes it's silly motivations like that. Sometimes it's intrinsic. It's the need to always make my parents proud. It's the need to make myself proud. You know, when you accomplish something, you get to live with that accomplishment. I always say the earlier you accomplish something, the longer you get to live with that accomplishment. So yeah, and I think it's also a practice. Like I'm now pretty, I do yoga weekly. I just did my first acupuncture a few days ago. That helps also, just being able to reflect and think about.
Can I get the number of that acupuncture? I could use a session or two.
It was, what was scary to me was I wanted to move, and you have needles in you. You should not move when that's being done.
Yeah. Right. Definitely not recommended that with needles in you, you move around.
Yeah.
I think I want to chime in on that. When I met Morissa a couple of years ago, I noticed something about her right away. Is she is a natural boss. I think that there are just some people that are just cannot take direction because they are better at giving direction. And Morissa is just one of these people that are just natural leaders. And that's why she's probably able to naturally just succeed in these things, because she's just very goal oriented. If she sets her mind to something, she's going to do it. No one is going to stop her. Not her parents, not her friends, nobody. People, her friends and family that can motivate her, that's just going to help. But you have to really want it. And Morissa is one of these people, like me, I feel like when you really want something, you really have to set your mind to it. You have to focus on what your goals are. You have to be realistic. You have to have funds. If you have realistic goals, you need funds for that too. So like it's all a circle. You have to reach your goals in a realistic fashion. You can't jump from 1 to 10. You got to get to 1 to 3 first, and then getting to 3 will get you to 6. And a lot of people try to get to 1 to 10 first, and that's where they never get there. And I think Morissa and I are people that I decided to be a chef. I just decided be a TV food personality. I knew I needed to learn. So how do you do it? You get out there, you learn, you watch, you take classes. And then now I'm a chef opening my first restaurant 3 years later. And I wouldn't have done it probably without Morissa. And I know I met her 3 years ago for a reason. I kept saying to her, we met for a reason. We're not exactly sure why. And we met through like a business relationship. And we just knew that we were going to work again one day, and we just stayed friends. And now look what we're doing. Everything happens for a reason. We both set out goals. This isn't something, I guarantee you, if I didn't meet Morissa probably wouldn't be opening a restaurant right now. But this happened for a reason. And I'm able to, Morissa is putting in 100% of what we need in our restaurant for Morissa to do. Because it, like anything that you start there, you need to have someone that's good at what they do. And, and if you divide and conquer, you will succeed. And that is something that Morissa has learned how to do, and I learned how to do. And it's patience. Patience is also very important. And wellness. And yes, acupuncture, that's good. We need to go out there and relax ourselves if we're going to be doing things like that every single day. Go get a spa, go sit in your bathtub and relax with some salts. Like, do whatever makes you feel more relaxed, because if you stress yourself out every day, it's just going to slow you down from getting to your goal. And that's another thing we're discussing about hours of operation. Just something simple as we can't work 12 hours a day, because at the end of the day, our food's going to suffer. We're going to suffer. Our personalities are going to suffer at the end of the day. We're not going to be the same people that we opened up in one day than we are a month from now. And we want to give people the same experience, not just with the food, but with ourselves, with the service. So the best thing to do is to give 100%, is to know what your 100% is first. Right. And then you dish it out.
So what would you say for people, because like, let's face it, the last year has not been a cake ride. It's been challenging.
It's been no piece of pie.
No, it's definitely, I think, kicked some people's butts. Yeah. So I think collectively there is a bit of I think a lot of people are in fear mode.
Yeah.
And very much reactionary. And so, and not like, I mean, let's face it, it's also impacted a lot of people financially. So what would you say for someone who's like not feeling motivated, feels like there are a lot of obstacles in the way. Like there has to be an internal shift from this listing off all the things that suck in the world to picking yourself up off the ground and starting to dust yourself off and just getting back to it.
I think a lot of it has to do with experience. You learn from trials and tribulations, and I think a lot of it is knowing where what your goal is, what your goal is, and what the goal is you're trying to reach in what period of time. Like I mentioned before, with people dealing with money right now, with struggles, you shouldn't have to stop your dreams just because of what's going on right now with COVID or anything like that. Listen, they announced that aliens were real a couple of months ago too. So we're going to stop eating because aliens are alive, like out there. You know what I mean? You just got to continue doing what you do. And just because you got to evolve with the world is what I'm trying to say. When we started Keshet Kitchen, we had this discussion too. Is this the smartest time to open up not one restaurant, but we're actually opening up 4 restaurants in Keshet Kitchen. We're having Keshet Kitchen with 3 cloud kitchens. And we realized that the best thing to do is to develop income that is online based, where we could do delivery services and get that extra income coming in to help Keshet Kitchen's, overhead. And that's what you got to do. You can't just stop your dream. I'm not going to not open up a restaurant. I'm going to wait for COVID to go away one day. And I might not be here before COVID goes away. So I'm not going to, fulfill my dreams and my wishes because of something going out in the world. No, you adjust your dreams. You adjust your plan. You create a model for whatever business you're doing. And you try to make it more online forward. And that is where Morissa comes in, and she is always she's been doing this for like thousands of clients, bringing their businesses online and giving them a face, a brand, an identity. And I'll give you, Morissa, you could talk about that. This is all your thing.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, in these times, we had a year ago where about half of our clients, they were either in food, events, things that were shut down essentially. And that was a scary time. It was scary for our clients. It was also scary for us because we lost like half of our clients, but we had to pivot and figure out ways to serve other people, because there were a lot of people ramping up their business just as much. So certain people figured out, my competition stopped their marketing because they're afraid of their budget. I should ramp mine up. So we start working with those people. We also start working with more medical professionals because they're busier than ever. And then of course, a project like this, like opening up Keshet, I mean, I think it's a great time. You do have more people ordering in. We have the technology to be able to support people ordering, and we're supporting every app, basically Grubhub, every single app you can imagine. People can order from. Thank gosh for technology, and this is a terrible thing that has happened with the pandemic. But in some ways, I'm thankful that it happened now where we have this technology, because imagine if it happened in like the 80s or 90s. I mean, forget, there would be no communication, no connectivity, nothing. So it's fortunate that we at least have this technology going through this terrible thing where we can order food through our phone. We can talk to each other. We can do a show like this.
We evolve. That's what it is. We evolve with the times. We try to make ourselves relevant now so we can stay relevant for the next 5-10 years. So no matter COVID, whatever comes out to God forbid, we're ready for it. It's not going to affect our business because we designed a model that's going to stay open no matter what. And
it's true.
Hopefully,
I mean, like the weirdest thing happened in my business where I'm a nutritionist and a health coach, and I was working with people like individually, face to face, right? And about 4 months before COVID hit, I decided I wanted to take everything digital. So I shifted into the online space, created online programs, and shifted all of my marketing. And then COVID happened. And it was like, I was already set up. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen. But what I was thinking of was, just as an entrepreneur, I was like, I want to be able to work from anywhere. I want to just be able to have my laptop and my phone and do things. And And it kind of like I talked to my peers and some of the people who are in the same space as me, and they spent like the first half of last year just trying to figure out what the heck they were going to do. Right. So there is something to be said for just keeping an open mind and being willing to shift instead of being stubborn and going, well, it should be this way. It's always been this way. Why can't it be this way? But just like, be like, okay, all right, this has happened. What can we do? What's next?
I think if anyone's going to be following their dreams and opening up a business, right now is probably the best time to do it. Rents are really low everywhere. You lock yourself in a really good deal, and if you just stay open through COVID, eventually things will get back to normal again. And then everyone's paying ridiculous rent, and you're locked in there in a quarter of the rent, and you're making all that money in your pocket while everyone else is paying it towards someone's landlord, to the landlord. Mm-hmm. So follow your dreams. Everything is much cheaper now. Why? It's because people aren't opening businesses, so products are cheaper. POS systems are giving away POS systems right now. Kitchen equipment is on sale because people are closing. So do what you need to do. Don't worry about it. COVID's going to go away. You just have to take a deep breath, keep getting that acupuncture, getting massages, eat healthy,
do some yoga,
follow your dreams.
Eat healthy for sure.
Yeah.
I was in a Tony Robbins workshop all weekend for like 4 days. Have you guys ever done one of those?
No.
I have a very close friend who has, so I know about them.
Yeah. I mean, one day I think we had a 14-hour day.
Oh,
I'm like a morning person. I do meditation. I work out. I had like, oh yeah, I'm going to like meditate for an hour and do my workout and then do this whole workshop thing, right? No, that's not how it works. It just goes on and on and on. And you get to bed when you get to bed. And when you wake up and you're like, holy shit, this thing starts in like 15 minutes. I got to go. I think the only thing I managed to do was my meditation because it keeps my head screwed on straight. But it was one of the things I was super impressed by was like a lot of people that do his workshops are entrepreneurial, right? They're looking to create a shift. And so many entrepreneurs I meet are trying to build their business, but they don't take care of themselves. And his thing, like he has like this whole pyramid diagram thing in his workbook. And the foundation of that is health, which I think is powerful. Like, at the end of the day, like, so my perspective on this whole COVID situation is like, if anything, it should highlight for all of us how important our personal health is, and help us to go, oh, okay, like, where am I strong and where could I be stronger in terms of my personal health, and taking some responsibility for that, like being empowered and going, oh yeah, like I can move my body more. I can eat more vegetables, like, So I thought that was like pretty powerful. And I mean, obviously, because I'm in the health space, I'm always about health. I'm like, get up, get healthy, like, right? But it was great to hear him, like, that is such a thing that's emphasized in the work that he does. And so I'm sure for you, Morissa, like when you went through having Lyme disease when you're young, like, do you have a different perspective in terms, like, you have a very successful business, but do you have a different perspective on how you view your own personal health because of what happened?
Yeah, well, a little bit. Okay. So when I had Lyme disease, it took them a very long time to diagnose it. I wound up going to 15 different doctors, pretty much every kind of specialist. And I was on some really heavy duty, medications. Like I had seizures as well as part of it. So like I was on Neurontin and it was terrible. Like ever since then, I mean, I was 11 and 12 when that happened. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm done with prescription medication. I'm done with like, not to be foolish, like I would go to a specialist or a regular doctor if I needed to, but really everything that I do is herbal, natural. Every kind of doctor that I see is like a DO rather than an MD, just because it was a DO that actually figured out it was Lyme disease and cured that. It's been supplements and natural remedies that have helped me. So I've definitely gone a very natural and holistic route, although it's funny because that also led me, I went to the academy, I graduated from the Academy for Biomedical Sciences. I was poised to become a medical doctor after that experience. And I decided to go this route instead after graduating, but I learned, yeah, I learned.
That was your first pivot.
Yes, it was. But while I did that, I learned a lot about the medical industry. And what scared me away the most from becoming a medical doctor was they said, you can't look at your patients as people. You have to just, be blank, because if you get too attached, you're not going to do your job right. And I can't do that. I can't look at a person and not see them as a person. So I was like, this is not the right job for me. And I think that in the MD world, and I'm not putting down anybody's profession, I'm sure there are a lot of amazing MDs, but in my experience, MDs and clinical doctors, they tend to have that kind of view where they're in, they're out, they're very quick with you. They have their prescription pad and that's what they're giving you. Whereas the DOs and the more holistic doctors, they'll take the time to listen. I mean, my DO spends 40 minutes with me. When I was a kid, he used to blow up his gloves like balloons to make me laugh. I mean, like, they do all kinds of goofy things. And I love that. And they actually take the time to listen.
Is that why you asked me to do that for you?
What was that?
Is that why you asked me to do that for you?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was really, really, I like that kind of personal attention, and I haven't seen clinical doctors act like that. And that's what I appreciate. So I'm very much natural. Like I said, with the yoga, I have a aerial yoga swing in my house. All this natural stuff all around. My whole desk is filled with natural stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're like me. I got crystals. on my bedside.
I'm about to unplug. I've tried to pull up, but it's plugged in right now. Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, I got my Himalayan salt lamp over there. I have a salt lamp, I think, pretty much in every room. So
when I leave her house, I radiate light for 2 days. I power everything.
You want to raise your vibration, right?
Absolutely.
You do.
I walk in, I immediately just, hey, girl.
It's like walking into the sun.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I actually also suffer from Crohn's disease, and being a chef, that sucks because Crohn's disease is an autoimmune system that lives in your belly. And it basically everything that you digest is uncomfortable. My diet is very limited, and being a chef, that sucks because I can't eat anything, but I have to taste everything. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I love being a chef lately, is just that I could get a little bit of a taste of everything I can't have. And see, there's just always a way around it. And you'd think that someone with Crohn's disease would never want to be a chef because food is their life. And there's a way around it. You just got to figure out what you really love to do. And I feel like Marissa was mentioning before, is that Marissa's a people person. And that's why she can't be a doctor, a medical doctor, is because she loves the connection that she makes with people on a daily basis. And that's something that you do with food also. That's what you do. You make the food to connect with someone through food. We love to connect through our art, through our passions with other people. And if that's something that you love to do, the obstacles in your way are just going to be smaller. Right.
Yeah. I think I'm sure that for you, Marissa, like your clients, like probably one of your, when someone comes to you wanting to work with you, you probably have so many ideas, and you have like a big, massive vision for them, visions that probably they don't even see for themselves because they don't have the expertise that you have. So
that's very true. Getting them to listen. I mean, getting them to listen is another story. Like I've had clients who they're very old school, and I'll come at them with some pretty out of the box ideas, and sometimes it takes some convincing, but yeah, it usually works. My favorite example, I worked with this client for 4 years, and he always insisted that his ideal clientele was middle-aged businessmen. He did loans for small businesses, and he was like, no, we just need to target middle-aged businessmen. That's it. And I finally was like, can we please target millennials? Because there are so many millennial small business owners, and you're just targeting that one group, and you've been doing that for like 20 years. And it took so much convincing. And finally, he let me do it. And he like doubled his client base, because he finally listened and moved to another age group. So yeah, definitely. I have a lot of that going on.
You don't know what works until you try it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have your goal, it's important to try things and then like kind of almost like take notes on what did not work and then try again. I mean,
first of all, write down your goal. Like that's people don't do that. And that's why Marissa crossed off all these things off her list, because she made a list. It's not a bucket list. It's a goal list. You know, everyone should have one. And if you have one and you look at it once in a while, you're like, you know what? I really got to cross some shit off this freaking list. Yeah. That's going to motivate you to go and do it. The easiest one on the list, but eventually you'll work through all of them. Mm-hmm. And how you work through all of them is that events will come in your life that will make it easier to get that goal out of your way, or someone's getting married and you finally get to throw that bouquet. You know what I mean? So things like that will only happen and you'll cross them off as if you write them down. They can be in your head, but they don't. You have to put it out there in the world. You have to put it out.
There's a lot of solid science on this. I wandered into like a Clubhouse room a couple of weeks ago and they were talking about journaling. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I write stuff down and they did this, they threw out this stat, whoever was moderating that room, 93% of people don't write down their goals.
That's why 93% of people work for other people.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And for me, like at the start of every year, I write down like, what are my big goals this year that I want to accomplish? And then every week is kind of like, okay, what are the things that I can do towards that goal?
But eventually you're still getting closer to every one of them.
Yeah.
It's just, you didn't cross them off yet. It's like you think of it like a little like on a video game. Like you do little things throughout life and every little like bar goes up, but eventually one hits the top, then another one hits the top, and then you just cross two things off your list. It's like, you know, you just got to like earn your points and you collect your pieces to craft that special item in a video game. It's all about getting there. And that's why it's called a journey or an adventure or a quest, is because you're going out there and collecting pieces of things that are required to make that goal of yours come to fruition. And that happens in a video game, it happens in a book, it happens in life, it happens in a movie, it happens everywhere. That's just the reality of it. You're not just going to get your goal anywhere unless you go to the store and buy it.
And you mentioned Tony Robbins before, Julie. I think I'm pretty sure because my friend who took his course, she's very into manifestation. So I would think that he probably supports that, where just, you know, if you make that vision board or that goal list, just having it out there, you know, some people say, oh, it's the universe that makes it happen. You know, is it that? Is it luck? Is it you putting in the work to make it happen? Whatever it is that does work. So I can attest to vision boarding and goal listing as definitely having.
I'm a vision boarder and a goal writer downer, if that's a word. I mean, my vision boards are over there. They're nice. On my wall. My desk is over there, so I get to see it every day. And yeah, so he's a big proponent of writing things down. I mean, obviously his work is much deeper than that, is getting people to recognize what their own personal blocks and obstacles are. What are the stories that they get trapped in? Because that's the other thing that also stops people from overcoming things, is that they have a story in their head. Something happened to them in childhood. And you know, let's face it, like some people go through terrible trauma. Like most people that I talk to had some kind of childhood trauma that happened, whether it was something that happened in their family or like in your case, it was an illness. Like people can perceive that any number of ways, right? And some people drag that through their entire life, that story. There was a woman that I talked to last year. It's funny, every few months she reaches out to me. She wants to work with me. She never takes the step. But she has the story about her ex-husband, the story about all this stuff that happened to her. And granted, it's all terrible stuff, right? But she has completely crafted her entire identity around these old stories. And they're stopping her from feeling healthy in her body because she's not taking care of herself. They're stopping her from feeling any joy. Like, it's amazing to me how much people get trapped in these old stories. So a lot of his work is around that too. And obviously, because of what I do, I'm always interested in like, what's someone's story, right? That's really like what this show is about. Like, what's someone's story, what happened to them, and what made them say yes to overcoming. Because that's the thing, is like everybody deals with some kind of trauma. It's universal, but it's what you do with it that matters the most, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. When did your friend go to Tony Robbins?
It was about 3 years ago. I believe that she still keeps up with him though. Like, I think he has regular events that she did prior to COVID with him.
Oh yeah, like now all his events are online and he has different events. I didn't realize he had so many different events. I mean, he even has like this whole kind of like university. I can't remember what they call what he calls it.
I think that's what she did, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really cool concept, because I think some of the things that people go through, like, we spend so much time in school, and yet we don't really learn the things that are the most important in life, right?
Yeah, actually, I just saw a meme yesterday where it was like, I don't remember any of the periodic table elements, even though I learned them, but they didn't teach me about investing and money management.
Yeah, they don't teach us about relationships. They don't teach us about investing. They don't teach us
things that matter.
Pardon?
All the things that matter.
Yeah, all the things that are really important you don't learn in school.
But that's what life is for. You learn it from your family, you learn it from your friends, you learn it through experiences.
Yeah. Everybody is like, have you ever read Joseph Campbell's A Hero's Journey?
I've been told so many times I should read that.
Probably because you're a writer.
You haven't read that, Marissa? You read 40,000 books.
I know. That's what, I don't know. Yeah, no. Yeah.
But in a way, like, everybody's kind of on their own hero's journey, right? That's why we love movies so much, because movies, like, when you're following an individual character, you're following their hero's journey, and we vicariously live through them, through that character. But like, if you kind of like telescope out, like, your life, Sharon, your life of opening up this restaurant, you're on your own. You guys actually, because you're
culinary journey. Yeah.
Actually, all three of you, you're on your own hero's journey, right? To create this business at like one of the worst economic times,
right,
in recent history. And, that's part of your journey, and what will, how you wake up, how you choose to tackle the challenges you're presented with. Because it isn't like, oh, I'm going to open a restaurant. Boom, there you go, right?
The lessons we learned, opening these restaurants up now, are lessons that people will not learn if they don't open a restaurant during a pandemic. We were forced to learn these things very harshly, just as simply as filing things or looking for things, that things are sold out everywhere, and just we had to work around things because of what was going on right now. And I think it was a lot harder for us to do it, but at the end, I think we did it in a very smart way, and for a very, very beautiful amount of money. And I'm hoping that these 4 restaurants will work out, because we have 4 chances to succeed and 4 chances to fail. So
yeah, I just think, how could they not? It's almost like that vision board thing. We have a plan. We have Sharon, who, he's very modest, but I mean, this is a guy who's done over 12 Food Network episodes of television shows, right? He's appeared on all these different shows and things. You have him making this food that I've eaten, is so good. Everything he makes is just gold. You have, him and Abe are so motivated. And I've seen Sharon also be the type of person where, yes, he was on Worst Cooks, and most people would just stop there, rest in their laurels, and stay for the rest of their life. I was on a show on Food Network, but instead he went on and did another Food Network show, and not only did it, but he won it. And then he went and he just kept going and doing all these different things, not resting on the laurels of being on that one television show. That's a rare thing. So knowing that work ethic and knowing my own work ethic, and we've talked about the goal list and everything, and my personality type, I don't see this not being a success. The location is great. The food is great. The branding is great. You have 3 super excited and motivated people working on it. I see nothing but success in it.
So it's a recipe for success is what you're
saying. Exactly.
Knock on wood.
I had to. It was too easy.
It was perfect.
We
never would have loved that.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I hope one of my hobbies is riding a Harley.
And not me.
You guys aren't that far away, so maybe one
hell
of
no.
I'll get to ride my Harley down there. Pardon?
I'm not climbing and riding anything. I have to make sure I'm there to cook for the next 5 to 10 years. Marissa will kill me if I'm not in that kitchen. But yeah, and it's also important to be healthy and safe. So probably not the smartest thing to do is jump on a Harley for me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe I will jump on a Harley.
I feel pretty good about it because I have ridden this Harley from Toronto to Vancouver and back.
I haven't been on a bike since I was like 10. That's probably why. I'm like, I don't even think I can balance myself on a Harley, let alone a bicycle.
I had one of those electric scooters as a kid and I fell and skinned my knee and that was enough for me. I have not gone on anything like that except a hoverboard since. So.
See, a hoverboard kind of freaks me out more than a Harley does. So when I got so basically my partner, my other half, decided he was getting a motorcycle license. And I was like, well, there's no way you're getting one without me. Sign me up. So we did a course together, but I do not ride bicycles. Like I suck at it. I used to ride my bicycle in downtown Toronto. I had a couple of wipeouts and that was it. I was done. Right.
My boyfriend rides everywhere. I don't know how he does it.
Fast forward, we're in this course. I dropped this motorcycle like 3 times. I think if I had dropped it one more time, they were going to boot me out of the course. I barely passed the course. I actually had to hire a private instructor after the fact because I was petrified to ride around my neighborhood. But I got it. Like I learned. I mean, so Michael, who was in the course with me, he's like, the 3rd time the bike went down, he's like, I thought you were going to quit. I thought you were going to quit. And it's funny because like riding a motorcycle at fast speeds is really easy. It's super easy. But when you maneuver a motorcycle at a slow speed, it's very difficult. Like your muscles really tire. And I remember like at the end of the day, I was like hurting all over, but there was no way I was quitting, right? I think like that's such a lesson in life is that when the obstacles are stacking up, it was like, there was no way. Plus there were only 3 women in that course. There were like 17 guys. I wasn't going to quit on principle. Right. I was going to let the guys be like, oh yeah, well, she does. Women can't ride motorcycles.
That principle should be applied to everything.
Yeah.
All your goals. There's no reason for it not to be. Not just because you're a woman, just because you don't want to fail.
Yeah.
You're a winner. That's it. Just go for it.
Well, every time I fell, like every time the bike went down, I had to go, okay, well, what can I do differently? What do I need to do? How can I shift? Right? Like, and I think that's the thing about going after a goal. If you don't get it right away, like, what do you need to, what can you learn? What can you apply? What can you do differently instead of just going, oh, well, so.
I think you also, I think it's, you got to not only know what you're good at, also know what you're not good at, because I'm not an online person. I honestly hate the freaking internet. The only thing it's good for is like Google and porn. And that's just my honest opinion on it. And that's why we paired up with Morissa. Like, again, you need to know where your weaknesses are. This is where Morissa, this is her expertise. This is where she's a guru. This is where I feel like I can relax and have the stress removed off of me and Abe, because we don't know what we're doing when it comes to that, but we trust Morissa, and having that stress taken off of you is so important to also have a business partner that it's not stressful for them though. You understand? It's only stressful for you. And when you have people that you work with that know what they're doing, it might take 10 people to get your goal done, like we mentioned before. And maybe you're not enough to get there. You could get there, but you need help, like I said before. So you need to know where your weaknesses are. You need to know where your strengths are. And you need to come up with a team. And the teamwork makes the dream work. And that's exactly what we did here with Keshet
Definitely
Kitchen.
finding other people to help is amazing. There's a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And that's what he talked about. He basically said, if you don't reach a goal, it's just because you didn't want enough. And he gives the example that when he was a kid, he wanted to be a rock star. And he isn't a rock star now because he didn't want enough. He didn't work enough towards it. He got distracted, started doing other things. And I think that that's really true. I can relate to that. I love singing, but I'm not a professional singer because as much as I love it, I just didn't have a passion.
You still have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
You still have a beautiful voice.
I do it as a hobby, but I didn't have passion enough to pursue it full time. It wasn't a big enough goal. So when something is a big enough goal, where there's a will, there's a way. You'll find a way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, especially now we live in an age where it's so easy to get distracted. And so being really clear about like how much time it's going to take towards a goal and having commitment, like going back to health, like people have this desire to be healthy, but they don't want to like do basic things like move their body every day or eat healthy. Like you're going to eat anyway. Why not just eat healthier?
Yeah, eat 10 times, eat 5 more meals a day. Just eat 5 healthy meals a day. I don't know, like people have this whole like you have to eat 2-3 meals a day. That's baloney. You can eat 5-10 meals a day. If you keep them to portion control, healthy meals, you incorporate a little protein, vegetable, you can eat as much as you want, but you got to be active too. It's all balance. You can't just eat even vegetables and not move because you're just going to disintegrate to nothing. But it's all balance. It's about health and business or whatever it is in life. It's always about having some sort of balance. You have to know when you're just stretching yourself too much.
I think also like in terms of business, honey, no.
You can do it later. You can do it later afterwards.
I love this. I love this. I love working from home.
Yay. Me too.
That didn't happen. I didn't see anything.
I've been working from home literally my whole life. I've never once worked in an office, and it is really cool for me to see other people who've never worked from home getting used to the lifestyle because yes, there are some downsides, but I think the upsides far outweigh them. Like I love it.
I mean, this is my upside from working from home.
That is definitely the best part. I know Morissa has 2 beautiful doggies too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not here today. I miss them.
But on the entrepreneurial side, it's important to know, like, depending on what kind of business you have, and I would say probably for pretty much everybody, like you need some kind of a team. Yeah. Whether it's like whatever it is that you do, but definitely support in terms of marketing, social media, bookkeeping. Like so many entrepreneurs really suck at that.
Yeah.
So it's
you have to figure out what you're good at because you just have to there's obviously like a list of 10 to 15 people or things you need to know to accomplish any business. You just have to know what I'm good at, what Abe's good at, what Marissa's good at. That's exactly what we did. We divided it very comfortably where every one of us are not stressing ourselves. And this is going back to the wellness and the health thing, is that we're not going to succeed in a business if any one of us is stressed or tired because we're never going to be our 100% self. And if we're not 100%, the business is never going to be 100%. We are the business. Mm-hmm. So it all comes back to that. If you're healthy, it'll radiate through you. It'll radiate through your business. Your friends will see it. Your customers will see it. It's all circle. It'll come around.
So you're the chef. Marissa's the marketing. What is your
boyfriend's the general manager?
Oh, he's the GM.
He's doing everything I don't want to do. I'm literally.
What is his talent?
He's actually was working in physical therapy for 7 years, and he's going to become a doctor in physical therapy here in Philly. But before he starts school, he's going to work at the restaurant and help us get ourselves off the ground. And plus he's also an investor. So he wants to make sure he's there every day to make sure it does succeed, which is understandable. You have to, he's good at managing. He managed a bunch of physical therapy offices, and that was very stressful for a very long time. And we are very confident that he could manage Keshet Kitchen and the other three.
And I think it's also really cool that, my parents own a business together. They've owned floor covering stores together their whole life. So it is really neat to see like partners working together. And so many people say, my parents, like, how do you do that? But they love it. They work together. They live together. Like it's awesome. So
they're best friends.
Yes, exactly. And that's like you and Eve. Like, it's really, it's a cool thing. Yeah.
We're friends too. We're not just business partners. That's why I'm going into business with family, and that's why I just feel so like no stress on me. It's like I feel like I could we're all open about everything. We're transparent about everything, but there's nothing to hide. There's no, oh, you can't, like we're always just like, here, like this is this. And that's what makes it easier, is when you're not, when things are just all like transparent and you don't have to hide things. There's no stress. We laugh, we joke about things. When we talk about business, it's just like a friend talking with another friend. That's why we feel like it's going to help us, in the long run, is when there's no stress involved or less stress involved, you're going to get further.
Yeah. I think also like when someone says, oh, how can you do that? Like work with your partner in a business. It says something about how they do relationships, because if your relationship is healthy, like why wouldn't you want to be with this person?
Exactly. Because you don't want to put more stress on the stress. That's why you don't need to work with someone when you can't have it great at home. You're just adding more stress on top of stress. But to knock on wood, there is no stress at home. So there's no reason to bring it at work. And if there is going to be stress at work, it gets left at work. I mean, that's why you have a home life and work life. Everyone's going to yell at each other. I'd rather yell at my boyfriend about screwing up the meatballs than anything else, So, if that's the worst that happens, that's the best relationship I've ever been in.
And that's one of the good things about not working from home, that you can at least compartmentalize a little bit where, you're at the office, you're at the restaurant, that stays there, and then you come home. I don't have that. Like, it was 10 o'clock Saturday morning. I got like a phone call. I'm like, oh no, I need to work now.
Right. Yeah.
I do find doing what we love.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, my work doesn't feel like work either, although I do have a dedicated office. And so when I'm done, I like just walk out, close the door, like I'm done. Phone goes into airplane mode, right, Harley?
Aren't they so cute?
I love Harley.
Yeah, and that's her sister, Coco.
Hey, Coco. Are they their actual biological sisters or adopted sisters?
No, they're actual sisters. They're actual biological sisters.
That's so sweet. I call my boys brothers, but they are not.
Yeah, I call them brothers and sisters. It's a German
we have to wrap up the show in like a minute. So where can they find the restaurant? Where can they find you guys?
Yeah, I would say keshetkitchen.com is the main place. That's the website. All our social media is there. If you reach out there, you'll find either of us, but we do have our own personal social media accounts under our names. So if you Google either of our names, you find us.
Yeah, and the physical address is 705 East Passyunk, and we're in Queen Village, Philadelphia, March 26th.
March 26th. So if you're in Philadelphia or you're driving,
we will ship you some food. Just let us know. Hit us up on Instagram, and we'll definitely send you some food.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on International Women's Day. And so Eduardo says he's waiting for his food. Okay.
I will send you some food too, I promise.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, guys.
You too. Peace.